Hello. Now, this video is trying something a little bit different. Um, Often when I listen to music online, the benefit of the new streaming age means you can quite easily on streaming platforms mix songs around when you listen to particular albums. Listen to things in different orders, perhaps, or mixing different albums together, which is something I've always been quite interested in. Looking at two particular projects that perhaps have certain similarities to them and mixing them together. So I thought I would have a show you a bit of just what I mean. With this being the 15th anniversary of the release of Graduation and Curtis by Kanye West and 50 Cent respectively, and the big sales feud that they had at that time, I thought it would be interesting to go over the pair of them and try and mash them up together to create an album, or, into a playlist for the tracks. And so I'll show you the results of what I have. So basically, with any type of project like this, I like to try and get as much of both albums on as possible. Not overstepping the mark of the general maximum length CD length, which is 80 minutes. So there we go. Let's see what I've got on here. So as you can see, this is my playlist for the mix of Graduation and Curtis, or Curtuation, as I decided to name it. Let's see it better on that side, all the way down to the bottom. So I managed to get a total of 22 songs on here. As quite a few songs on both of the albums are quite short, so we're able to fit a lot on. Usually the typical kind of length I find is about 18 songs, but as I say, we've got some shorter songs on here, so managed to fit a bit more on. So I'll just go through it a little bit. So we see from the beginning, it goes Curtis Graduation, Curtis Graduation, Curtis Graduation. There's a way you mashing the songs, the artists together. We decided to start with Curtis songs first, then onto Graduation ones, just so that I could end with Graduation. It's the stronger album of the two. It has a stronger ending than Curtis does, and it actually works quite well on here, because starting with Curtis means we start with the intro skit, which then leads into Kanye's Good Morning as the first proper song. So we don't have that weird thing of starting with a song and then going into a skit. This isn't the Marshall Mathers LP2. So after we get those out, and Good Morning is a great introductory song. So it's good to I like to try and keep intros and outros the same as they are on the actual albums. They're intros and outros for a reason. Well, it certainly should be. And so having these together kind of works well. Good Morning is a strong introductory song. Going to 50s My Gun Go Off, being the first proper song on Curtis. It's going to make sense to keep it on there, keep that vibe of the 50 tracks on, and it's quite a high pace track, so it kind of works well to begin with. Going into Kanye West Champion, I noticed actually doing this that the graduation tracks as we go through them are roughly in the order that they are on the album. So I mean, again, this isn't necessarily how I would structure this if it was an actual album, but it just goes to show that the graduation tracks fall in quite a good way on the actual album. But yeah, Champion kind of keeps that pace up a bit, and again, quite an early song. Kind of brings that energy in early on the track listing. Moving to 50 Cent, I Get Money. So this again, we're trying to look at the parallels between the albums and try to pair up similar songs where possible. So this point, we decided to try and get the kind of street singles for the respective albums in. So we have 50 Cent, I Get Money, going into Kanye West, Can't Tell Me Nothing. I mean, Curtis had a couple of other songs as well, but I mean, this is the proper street single, Morris accounts, and yeah, Can't Tell Me Nothing for Kanye. It's a street single before the proper release, and they do have a kind of similar feel to them anyway. So yeah, again, they work quite well together, I feel. Then go into the actual singles for the album. I felt worked well as well. So 50's AO Technology, then Kanye's Stronger. It worked well together with them both being strong singles, both having the Timbaland connection as well. AO Technology being produced by Timbaland, Stronger having drum production from Timbaland. So yeah, the two of them worked well together. Going into Follow My Lead for 50. This kind of a bit of a last minute decision, really, just because I couldn't think of another place to put Follow My Lead on here, and it was the one that I wanted to try and keep on here as it's one of the probably like the softest track from 50, and it would be good to try and keep a different show a bit more of the variation, considering Curtis isn't a particularly well-rounded album. I'm going to try and keep as much of a differentiation between songs, and Follow My Lead is a decent enough song anyway, and it nice to kind of bring the tempo down a bit after Stronger and AO, these quite big bumping songs we've just had. And it also means that we get Kanye's I Wonder to follow, which again is a bit more of a smoother, calmer song. So yeah, kind of keeping that same energy, for lack of a better wording. Then we go on to 50's I Still Kill and Kanye's Good Life. So trying to keep the follow-up singles together again. And, one track features Akon, one track features T-Pain. Yeah, we've got that link as well. Then, again, in terms of the collaborations as well, the proper kind of rap collaborations on the respective albums, 50's Peep Show featuring Eminem, and Kanye's Barry Bonds featuring Lil Wayne. I mean, Peep Show's not necessarily the best 50 and Eminem collaboration, but it's also one of the. It has at least has a different style to a lot of the tracks on Curtis, and is kind of better than a lot of the other middling tracks which didn't make this playlist, which kind of says more about the quality of those songs than the quality of this song. But again, it's the only proper rap collaboration on Curtis, and Barry Bonds is the only proper rap collaboration on Graduation, so again makes sense to pair those together. again, there's not necessarily to say that this is where they would go on an album like this. No, we have a lot of the collaborations all next to each other, but in terms of a playlist, it kind of works. 50's Come and Go following, and Kanye's Everything I Am. So again, parallels between these tracks. Come and Go featuring Dr. Dre on it, produced by Dre, and featuring him on the chorus. Everything I Am features DJ Premier doing the DJ scratches. So you have that Dr. Dre and DJ Premier connection there. And, again, Everything I Am is a song that I wanted to keep on here. And Come and Go is a decent enough club banger. So, yeah. Again, kind of just a place to keep them, really. And Everything I Am kind of needs to be a bit closer towards the end of the album anyway. Just because the feel of it, I feel. Like I say, a lot of the graduation tracks are pretty much in the correct position anyway. 50 Moving On Up, and Kanye The Glory. Again, not necessarily tracks that have any parallels, but I guess they're both quite powerful tracks in a way. Moving On Up has quite a gritty, banging beat to it, and The Glory has quite an upbeat, triumphant feel to it. So they're both quite powerful songs in that regard, and they're both songs I really, really wanted to keep on here. They're two of the strongest tracks in this entire track listing. Of their respective albums, they're both quite strong tracks, I feel. So I need to keep them together. And again, The Glory needs to be fairly close to the end, given like the uplifting nature of it, and I guess it kind of works for Moving On Up to be quite close as well, to kind of give that last really banging 50 feel before we get to the end. The kind of last set of proper collaborations, All of Me featuring Mary J. Blige, and Homecoming featuring Chris Martin of Coldplay. Again, quite big collaborations in terms of the guest artists, so need to be together, and both of them are close to the ends of their respective track listings, so to have them as kind of like penultimate songs works fairly well together. Also kind of from what I remember, both Moving On Up and All of Me are produced by Jake One, so having them not too far from each other kind of works. They two of the better produced tracks on Curtis, so having them close together with a kind of similar feel to them kind of works. And then to close off the album, the final tracks off of both the albums, Touch the Sky featuring Tony Yayo and Kanye's Big Brother. Now, yes, Touch the Sky is a rap collaboration from Curtis, but it's a G-Unit collaboration, so it kind of doesn't count as much, I feel, and also it's not as strong as some of the other collaborations we have earlier on. And again, as a way to kind of bridge the gap between the Homecoming and Big Brother, it's fine to have on there. It's a decent enough song. Let's say one of the strongest tracks on here, but a good enough penultimate song. And Big Brother, of course, makes a lot of sense, just with the personal nature of it, to really finish off the album. So again, this isn't necessary. If all these songs were actually created for the purpose of an album, this isn't necessarily how I would put them together. But to be able to get all these great songs on and in roughly this order, I feel, say you kind of need to have a lot of the really big songs towards the beginning, and then kind of bring the tempo down a bit, and then bring up again for the end. And then get a bit more of a mix of the more personal tracks in the ending as well. So yeah, just in terms of a playlist, all seems to play well together, and so a track listing. Well, so I managed to pretty much keep all the tracks off of both albums that I wanted. Um, so with Graduation being quite a strong album overall, it was more a case of trying to fit the Curtis songs around it, and with obviously Curtis has a lot more cuts off of it just because there's more songs, so we're going to try and keep an even amount of tracks from both projects, and has a lot more filler than Graduation does. But yeah, again, just as an overall playlist, I quite like it, and it'd be maybe try and get a few more of these done. It's something that I enjoy doing, mixing projects together, and maybe have a look at a few more similar projects to kind of have a share an insight into how, my reasoning and rationale behind these mixes. So yeah, any suggestions for projects to mix together? Be interested to see. I have a few ideas for albums to try and mix together in a kind of similar way to this. And yeah, we'll see, get more of this done in the future. Okay.